After months of speculation around J. Cole's standing in this legendary beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, things are now getting a bit clearer. We all know he backed out of the beef and apologized to Kendrick months before everything went sideways. But it seemed J. Cole's decision to try and make amends between the trio and keep the lid on the escalating beef didn't sit well with Drake at the time, and he reacted to it the best way he knew how. Ever since Cole insulated himself from the beef, Drake has been throwing shades at him in every major diss track he has released since then. He even clowned him with several petty posts on his socials trying to prove a point, but this came as a surprise to many. How could you diss someone who was just on tour with you after putting on an amazing hit song together? This is the question fans were asking themselves on socials, but Drake seemed to have made it clear that the pair were not on good terms anymore. Despite J. Cole's withdrawal from the feud, many fans were still yearning to understand where he stood because they believed no matter how hard Cole had tried to insulate himself from this beef, he was inevitably stuck in the middle. Cole has finally responded to all these speculations with a blazing hot track titled Port Antonio. But before we analyze everything J. Cole addressed concerning this beef, it's important to acknowledge his level of discipline and honesty. Unlike many other rappers caught in the crossfire of this beef, J. Cole stood his ground and never let himself be lured into another noisy trap. Instead, he took his time to analyze everything, from his shocking decision to opt out of the beef to the series of jabs and abuse he has been receiving online. There's a sense of calmness with this new track from J. Cole, which could be something hip-hop needs right now after months of chaos and wreckage. Cole was finally in his element with this song, and every line feels intimate and personal, like it's coming from a place of reflection after everything that went down. It's obvious J. Cole took his time with every bar in Port Antonio, and you will feel immersed in the song from the get-go. He showed off his lyrical prowess in the first verse, but went much deeper and more personal in the subsequent verses as he addressed the current state of hip-hop culture following the unprecedented war between the two giants. He also shared his views about the bleak future of hip-hop, especially with the new generation of artists' poor representation of the genre. J. Cole followed it up by addressing the real topic people have been waiting for, which is his decision to withdraw from what is arguably hip-hop's greatest beef. One of the lines that caught the eye almost immediately reads, "I pull the plug because I've seen where that was about to go." This bar seems to confirm the rumors that Schoolboy Q reached out to J. Cole to inform him that the beef between Kendrick and Drake was going to be earth-shattering and very personal beyond just any regular rap beef. If y'all recall, Cole was preparing a full-on diss track to fire back at Kendrick at some point, but ultimately shelved it a few days before its release. Now we understand that Cole backed out because he was looped in on what was going to go down and he wanted no part in the toxicity that came with it, no matter how profitable it would have been for him. Cole took it a step further while addressing his decision to opt out of the fiery feud, saying, "They wanted blood, they wanted clicks to make their pockets grow. They see the fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost a battle dog, I would have lost a bro. I would have gained a foe." Apart from admiring how beautifully crafted and intricate these lines are, they are also packing a lot of meaning. This is Cole telling us he wasn't ready to pay the heavy price that comes with being embroiled in this beef. He realized early that teaming up with Drake to take on Kendrick, which Drake always wanted, wasn't a great idea, and he didn't want to make an enemy out of Kendrick. What makes this set of bars even more interesting is how J. Cole sneakily sent a subtle reminder that he would have done some serious wreckage if he had taken on this battle, but he was just being a gentleman about it. Cole justified his reasons for not engaging more in the beef, saying it wasn't worth it. In another line he said, "And all for what? Just to attain some more props from strangers who don't have a clue what I've been aiming for." Cole deserves a lot of respect for the way he has carried himself through this tricky situation. He never wavered from his moral standard and high level of self-discipline, despite the constant pressure he was receiving. J. Cole showed he didn't care what anyone says about him or his legacy, and he wasn't going to be pressured to be something he isn't. But Cole wasn't done at all on Port Antonio. He had much more to say from the perspective of the guy sandwiched in between two rap giants who were battling each other to the death. The subsequent bars on this track are so heavy that it could be considered one of the best we've seen this year. He weighed in on everything that went down between Kendrick and Drake by speaking from a place of understanding. Cole said, "I understand the thirst of being first that made them both swing, protecting legacy so lines got crossed perhaps regrettably. My friends went to war, but I walked away with all their blood on me. Now some will discredit me and try to wipe away my pedigree, but please find a person out there that's rapping this incredibly." You could feel Cole's passion in these bars and how hurt he felt about the raging feud, but he also acknowledged that both sides are just hungry to protect and cement their legacies as the best to ever do it. He understood they were both vying for the immense glory that comes from such a high-profile battle, but also reaffirmed that they probably took things too far in this hunt for glory. He also made a point of not liking the fact that he was caught in the middle of a heated war between two people he deemed as friends and colleagues. Another interesting part of these heavy lines by Cole is when he noted that the pair might later regret coming at each other so hard because at this point, there's probably no way back for them to be cool again. While it's understandable why Cole would feel this way, it's important to understand that this isn't the first high-profile rap beef that went out of hand and got super ugly. For example, the Jay-Z and Nas beef. The two of these rap greats went too hard at each other, saying obscene and dark things that can't be unsaid, and Cole of all people should understand that rap beefs can take a very dark turn. J. Cole took a deeper dive into his career and the state of hip-hop as a whole in the final verse of Port Antonio. It turned out that the song was divided into segments, and the first two segments were where he addressed his apology to Kendrick and how much he still respects and loves the pair despite all that went down. The last verse was the final piece of the puzzle. If y'all notice, J. Cole has been on a feature run lately, and most of them have been with some of Drake's biggest enemies in the game. But it's also important to point out that Drake has also been dissing Cole ever since he apologized and stepped back from the feud. In this last verse, J. Cole finally addressed what went down between him and Drake behind the scenes, something we've been waiting so long for. He rapped, "They say I'm picking sides, eh? Don't you lie on me to start another war, eh? Drake, you'll always be my person. I ain't ashamed to say you did a lot for me, my person, F all the narratives." J. Cole clearly showed the world he was an upright and humble man to the core with this verse. It's hard to imagine a better way he could have ended the track. This is Cole acknowledging all Drake had done for him and telling him he loves him no matter the speculations and rumors. J. Cole is undoubtedly a world-class rapper with an incredible catalog, but we all know Drake played an integral role in J. Cole's achieving new heights in his career. This is why Cole ending the song in the manner with which he did deserves utmost respect. This is him telling the world that humanity comes first before anything else. The money and relevance that the controversy would have given him didn't matter to Cole one bit, as he would choose his blooming friendship with Drake every time. This was simply a class act by J. Cole without a doubt. We've got to give it up to him because it takes a lot to overlook the way Drake clowned him non-stop ever since he backed out of the beef. J. Cole might be the most peaceful rapper on the planet, but he's got to understand that he doesn't have to be friends with everyone, and he shouldn't have given Drake a free pass either. He doesn't necessarily have to go all out on Drake as Kendrick did, but he was too generous in my opinion with the way he let him off the hook despite the disrespect he had been dished all summer. Now that J. Cole has called for peace in the most humble manner ever, all eyes are on Drake to see if he could reciprocate an apology of his own. But with the way Drake has been handling all the losses from this feud with Kendrick, it would be a surprise if he reciprocated the same energy as J. Cole's. While it's honorable of J. Cole to be the first rapper in this beef to wave a white flag while expressing his true feelings without bias, Port Antonio also perfectly depicts the lukewarm behavior of Cole as an MC. He seems to throw in the towel too quickly at times, and he's starting to show a pattern of saying one thing and doing something else when it gets heated. At this point, we could say his personality as Jermaine Lamar Cole is a huge contrast to his rap persona. The J. Cole we know always made it clear in his music throughout his career that he would never conform to any sort of disrespect on his name, but he seems to be a completely different person now that the stakes are at their highest. The inconsistencies in what he represents with his music to the actions he takes aren't good enough for a rapper who claims he isn't afraid of drama. It's important to note that this criticism is purely on the music side of things and nothing else. Port Antonio is another perfect rendition of acute storytelling and J. Cole's way of saying he wants peace to reign, yet you could hear him sneak a little reminder in almost every line that his pen game is good enough to take on anyone. Why ask for peace when you can keep spicing it up with a subtle reminder that you're always ready for war? Maybe Cole doesn't know this, but this contradiction makes everything weird. Regardless of all the criticisms about this latest track by J. Cole, we have to admire his courage and his decision to speak his mind directly the best way he knows how, through music. J. Cole's timing is almost perfect, and there's no doubt that Port Antonio is going to be a massive hit. This is just the perfect dosage the hip-hop world needed, and Cole delivered exceptionally. With all this said, what do you think of J. Cole's new song? What is your opinion about his advocacy for peace over drama, or do you think he's just running from being embroiled in a rap beef? Let it rain in the comment section below. If you have been missing out on these intense dramas involving 3 of the biggest artists in hip-hop right now, you need to check out the recommended videos. Like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the latest updates as well. We'll see you next time.